Today, I'm part of a collab hosted by Val over at Valerie Reese. And she wanted us to come up with picnic ideas for a collab she's calling Picnic in the Park. And I've done just that. So if you're looking for a more interesting, lighter version of potato salad, I have the perfect solution for you here. This is my German potato salad. It uses a vinaigrette in place of mayonnaise, so it's lighter and definitely more unique. So if you have an upcoming picnic, barbecue, cookout, or any sort of gathering, and you want something to bring that's not gonna eat up all your bites, points, or calories, I'll be showing you how I make this coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name's Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now, if you're new here, they're usually mine. Today I am making a German potato salad. This is part of a collab started by Val over at Valerie Reese. And go check out her channel as well as all of the other channels that are part of this collab. They will be linked down in the description box. So go check them out and give them some subscription love. Now this June collab is called Picnic in the Park. So these are all going to be picnic items that you're going to find on the other channels as well as on mine. Paul and I love a good potato salad, but all that mayonnaise, I will substitute light mayonnaise and I will put half of it as Greek yogurt. But a German potato salad, which is served warm or at room temperature, is a totally different thing. Instead of having a mayonnaise base like an American potato salad would, this is a vinaigrette base. And it's a wonderful variation on potato salad, so you're gonna wanna keep this one in your recipe books. Serve it right out of the pan for dinner, or if you're going on a picnic, you can transport it and have it at room temperature. It is delicious either way. So let's go over the ingredients. I have here 24 ounces of baby potatoes. You don't have to use baby potatoes. I just like using them. But you want about 24 ounces and you're going to cut them into bite-sized pieces. Here I have 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar. Now I'm using apple cider vinegar because it's a little more mellow and has a tiny bit of sweetness, and that really goes well with this potato salad. You could use white vinegar, that would be fine. It'll just be a little bit sharper. I have here 1 small onion that's been diced, and that's according to taste. You can do a little bit more, a little bit less, or leave it out if you're like my friend Jennifer Lynn, who doesn't like onions, but I love onions, so it's your call how you play that. But this typically does have some onion in it. Here I have 4 strips of center cut bacon, and I have diced those. I slit them along the middle and then cut them into small pieces. It's just easier to cook it that way, in my opinion. You could cook it as regular bacon and then just crumble it up. That is your call. I have here 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. That is going to give us a little more depth of flavor and a little more tang than just the vinegar alone. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar replacement, and I'm using the all-purpose and the raw. That is my preferred granulated sugar replacement now, but you can use whatever you like. Here I have 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. That is about 3 cloves if you're mincing it yourself, but I just get it out of the jar. It's so much easier. Here I have 2 teaspoons of dried parsley. Now you can do this with fresh parsley. My problem is I usually forget I have it in the fridge and it goes bad. If I actually think about it, I will chop it up and freeze it so I have some on hand, but I generally don't. So if you're like me, 2 teaspoons of dried parsley. But if you wanted to do fresh, you would do a generous tablespoon of fresh parsley. Here I have 1/4 teaspoon of table salt and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. That's all we need, just 10 ingredients. So I'm going to shuffle a few things around. I'm gonna get these potatoes chopped up, and I will show you a couple of them to show you what size I get them to. And then we're gonna move on. So I'll be right back. All right, so I've got the majority of my potatoes cut up in the pan already. I just wanted to show you a few of them. If they're very small like this one, I usually just cut them right in half and throw them in the pot. I go for about 1 inch, which I know I've measured is the tip of my pinky from the first joint. That is about 1 inch for me, so I use that as a measurement, as a guide. So that may be helpful for you if you're cutting things and you have an idea of how much 1 inch is based on a finger, then it'll help to guide you. If they're a little bit larger than this, it's still going to be just cut in half because that would still be 1 inch. But these two are a little bit bigger, so what I will do is cut lengthwise and then across and make them about the same size as the others. And throw those in the pot. Now I'm going to cover this with cold water. You always want to start potatoes in cold water because if you start them in hot water, what is going to happen is the outside's going to start to cook. And it's going to seem done, but the middle of the potato is not going to be cooked. So you always want to start them in cold water so that way they come up to temperature with the water, and that doesn't happen. So let me go cover this with water, about 1 inch. Okay, so the potatoes are covered by about 1 inch of cold water. What I'm going to do is cook these on high for about 10 minutes until they are tender and a fork will go into them. You don't want to use a paring knife, which is what a lot of people do, because the knife is going to be sharp and be less likely to hit resistance as well as a fork would. So I'm going to set this over on the other burner here and bring in my frying pan and get this going over high heat. So I'm going to set a timer for the potatoes once it starts to boil. I don't want to start it until it started to boil so that I know they are starting to cook. Then I'll set it for about 8 minutes just to give me a little leeway. They may not need the full 10. But while that is happening, I'm going to start my bacon. And just like the potatoes, you want to start those in a cold pan. You do not want to start bacon in a hot pan for the same reason. This will help it to stay flatter than if you put it into a hot skillet, which would cause it to crinkle up. I'm going to turn this on to medium high, and I'm going to cook this for about 8 to 10 minutes so that we can get this bacon nice and crisp, and I'll keep moving it as it cooks, especially being over medium high. I want to make sure nothing burns or scorches, so I will keep stirring this. I'll set a timer once the potatoes are boiling, and I'll be back. Okay, so it's been about 8 minutes. I'm going to turn this down to medium, and I'm going to transfer the bacon bits over here to a paper towel lined plate so that that can drain off and not keep our bacon soggy by being in the grease. And just spread that out a little bit so it has some room to dry. And then I'm going to put this back onto the heat. And there is very little bacon grease left in here. If you happen to have a lot, you'd want to wipe the majority of it out. But because I have so little, I'm going to leave that in. And now I'm going to add in the onions. And I'm just going to saute the onions until they are lightly browned and translucent and soft, and that will take about 5 minutes or so. Meanwhile, I'm still waiting for the potatoes. They have a couple of minutes before I check them, so I will be back. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. The onions have softened, got a little light browning on them, and the potatoes are done. I drained them and put them in a strainer over the pot until I'm ready to use those. So keep those to the side. Now what I'm going to do is add in the garlic and the parsley and stir that through. You just want to cook this for about a minute for that parsley to rehydrate and for that garlic to lose some of its bitterness. That's going to take a minute. So while that is going, I'm going to take my vinegar, add in my Dijon mustard, sugar replacement, salt, and pepper, and just whisk that all together. Now, if you were using fresh parsley, you would not add that now because you would lose the flavor of the parsley. You would add that at the end after we've added the potatoes back in, or maybe just before so they spread a little more easily. So now what we want to do is add our vinegar mixture carefully into the pan so that way it can heat up. We want it to come to a boil. And it shouldn't take too long because the pan is already hot. So let me get this up to a boil and we'll move on. Okay, so we have a little bit of a boil going on. You don't need it to be a rolling boil. You just want it to start boiling. Now we're going to add in our potatoes carefully so you don't splash yourself with the hot vinegar and the crispy bacon. Now I'm curious, some people like their bacon crispy, some people like theirs a little soft. I'm curious what your take on that is. I prefer mine crispy, so I'm curious to see what your notion of bacon is. Let me know down in the comments. So we're just gonna stir this all through, and now we're gonna let this sit for about 3 to 4 minutes, so that way the potatoes have time to soak up that vinaigrette. And you do wanna stir it a bit as it's cooking for those 3 to 4 minutes, just to get things fully coated. So about 3 to 4 minutes and we're ready to serve. So I'll be back. It's been just about 3 minutes or so, and you can see that a lot of that vinaigrette is now gone. It's not really gone. The potatoes sucked it up, so they are full of flavor now. I'm gonna turn this off. That's all there is to making a German potato salad. Maybe not as easy as an American potato salad, but it is worth the extra effort, even though it's really not too much of an effort. But there you have it. The next time you need something for a picnic, for a barbecue, a cookout, what have you, you are all set. You have a delicious German potato salad. And you can obviously make this for more. You can double or triple the recipe as you need. Also, because there is no mayonnaise in this freezes fairly well. So you could freeze this for about 3 months, although it doesn't last that long around here. So I don't know why you would, but if you do have any leftovers that you need to save, put them in the refrigerator, and then you can warm it up in the microwave or on the stove top again, just to get a little more heat to it. Or honestly, I like it cold as well. So it's your call. Before I go over the nutrition facts, I do want to say again, thank you to Val from Valerie Reese for hosting this collab. This was a great idea, picnic items, because we are definitely heading into picnic season. So as I said, check out the other channels that are part of this collab down in the description box, and you'll have your whole picnic planned out for you before you know it. Now for the nutrition facts. I am on the Healthy Better Balanced plan, which is equivalent to the old WW Blue plan, which is close to their current plan. So those are the bites and points that I give. And for 1 serving of this will serve 6 people. It is only 3 bites a serving. So you can have potatoes on a weight loss journey and not have to worry about it. Now this is delicious and full of flavor, so it is going to be worth the 3 bites, I promise you. Now, if you are following calories, the calories for 1/6 of this would be 116. And if you are following macros, the fat would be 1.4 grams. Saturated fat would be 0.5 grams. Protein would be 5 grams. Carbs would be 25.6 grams. Fiber would be 1.8 grams. And sugars would be 1.2 grams for 1/6 of this recipe. Also, if you are new here and you've come over from one of the other channels in this collab, I hope you will consider subscribing. There's a little button down below, and I have lots of recipes to share with you, so hit that red button. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this recipe, and if you did, I would appreciate you supporting my channel by giving me a like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video, especially like this one, which is coming out on a day I don't typically share a video. Speaking of supporting my channel, if you can, there is a link in the description box to a site called Buy Me a Coffee, which is kind of like Patreon. If you can support the channel in that way, it would be greatly appreciated. Also down in the description box, you will find the link to this recipe. I will link directly to this recipe as well as to the blog itself. There is also my Amazon storefront and my social media, my Instagram, and 3 Facebook groups that I'm part of. So if you're looking for weight loss support, check out those groups and check out that description box for all sorts of information. So I guess it's time for me to pack up for my picnic, and I hope you'll soon be doing the same yourself. So until next time, bye.